What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Animation Revaluation podcast. I am your host, Lizer, and with me, as always, are Jay and James. What's up, fellas?
Hello.
We're going.
We're going. We're doing it. Look at me, ma.
Mom, get the camera.
How you guys doing?
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good. Woke up from a nap maybe about an hour ago.
Nice.
Nice.
I could use
It
one of
got
those.
hot. Yeah. It got hot and I was like, well, I sleep now.
I'm hot. I'm hot, ma.
Go to your father's house.
Go to your father's house. But you, James, how you doing today, buddy?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I just barely got home, and I just had sushi. So I was like, ooh, nice, perfect day after work. Just ending it off with some sushi. We had to spend a certain amount to get just because the sushi place we were at, we're doing a collab with Demon Slayer, so we had to spend a certain much to get a T-shirt. So we were just like, oh man, fuck it, and we did.
It's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. Well, no, pretty good.
Wait, so did you get the shirt?
Yeah, I got the shirt. I don't have a picture for it, but it's pretty cool. It says the name of the sushi place on the back, and it's just how would you call it? It's like a white shirt with all the characters of the Demon Slayer, or at least like the
main cast?
four,
Yeah.
the main cast. Yeah, not the Husher or anything. And the second that we saw it, we were like, oh, cool. Because like, you just get it, you get it. I want that because like you get it for free after spending a certain much. I was like, all right. I was like, you're saying we just gotta eat sushi to get the shirt? I'm like, easy.
I was gonna do that anyway.
Exactly.
Easy. For me, it was just a simple Tuesday.
I had to pause for. I was like, it's Tuesday,
No.
bro. Like my mind is so foggy right now.
I'm surprised you didn't take a nap today. Be
Naps are for
fair.
babies.
You know, I believe that, but they work. Surprisingly.
I'm too tall to be a baby, but too short to have another reason to take a nap.
I take like 12-hour naps. Or I take a nap and I wake up the next day.
That's just
going to sleep.
yeah, it's just sleeping, bro.
No, but like I put in an alarm for like an hour, and then I wake up the next day. So like I want it to be a nap, but it's not. But like each time I nap, that happens. But each time I sleep, it's like a nap. You know what I mean? Like you want to like the times you actually only want to nap for like a little bit, you just sleep. But the times you want to sleep, you can't sleep.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But moving on to what we're actually here for.
Yes,
So, Fruits Basket, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Fruits Basket is such a nice nostalgic show for me. Because, like, I watched it years ago. Like, there was originally an anime from, like, 2000, 2001, something like that.
Yeah.
There goes song, Fruits Basket. So I was just, like, I was a young kitten when I first saw it. And I remember it very fondly. But here's the thing about my memories. They're not very reliable at all. Because I remember this being just, like, a normal slice of life show with like some comedic elements, but nah. I'm over here like holding back tears and shit, not only for like things that happened in just the first 5 episodes, but like as I watched, I was remembering things that were gonna happen later on, and I'm like, man, fuck that guy. I was just going through it.
For some reason I thought the main girl's name was Ichigo for some reason, but I think I was remembering another shoujo with that particular name that's like very similar.
Maybe? I wouldn't know.
I wasn't sure.
yeah, I was like getting emotional and shit watching watching the show and like remembering things that are to come. But I'll get to that. Let's actually talk about the show that we watched. So basically, Fruits Basket opens up with a narration explaining the Chinese zodiac. You know, there's like 12 animals, and they're each represented on like a calendar of years. Like, I'm born in this year. I'm this animal. You know.
I think we covered it on the Jackie Chan
Yeah,
episode.
but in case people didn't watch that one, you know.
That is true.
What a baby. I will ban you.
I'll do it.
don't ban her. But unlike the Jackie Chan show, we're told that there's actually supposed to be 13 animals represented in the zodiac, and that there's supposed to be a cat. But the rat tricked the cat, said like, hey, we're going to this party, but it's going to be like the day after tomorrow. Meanwhile, the party was tomorrow. All the animals showed up except the cat, and that's how they became the zodiac. So the cat was tricked. So they give us that explanation, and then the show actually starts proper, and it's mainly about a young girl named Toru Honda. We get a picture of her. I'm back on picture duty, guys.
Nice.
Nice.
Is it?
There's Toru. She's a young girl living on her own in a tent in the forest. Because, you see, Toru's mother, who I think I also have a picture of. Where are you? Where are you? Where? Hello? Where are you? Oh, there we go. Kyoko. Boom. She sadly passed away before. What a fucking horrible, like, oh, where's the picture? Oh, here she is. Hey, she's dead.
Pretty much.
She passed away sometime before the start of the show. So Toru was supposed to be living with her grandfather, but he was also taking in other members of his family, so his house needed to be remodeled. And he believed that while that was happening, Toru would be staying with someone in the meantime, but nope. Homegirl was camping because she was just living alone in a tent. Anyway, she's going to school one day, you know, getting ready in her tent, says goodbye to a picture of her mom. And as she's walking to school, she comes across like this house, and outside of this house were they like stones or like eggs?
So they were like stones.
I believe there were stones.
I think they were stones, but I don't know why. I'm like, hey, maybe they could be eggs, and they're doing this like Easter style. They're painting the zodiac eggs. But it's the stones, and they're painted as with the symbols of the 12 zodiac animals, and they're being like left outside to dry. So she sees these stones, and she's like looking at them, because she's fascinated by the zodiac, and that's where we get to meet Shigure. You get a picture of the boy, or the man, sorry. I don't know why I chose this picture that looks very sinister. Shigure is not sinister at all. I don't know why I chose this one. But he comes out, and he's surprised that she actually knows so much about the Zodiac, and that's actually where she proclaims her love of the cat. Having been told the story as a child about the Zodiac from her mother, and how she was so upset about the cat being excluded that she started crying, and she proclaimed that even though she was born in the year of the dog, she's going to now be the cat. And that's where we meet another young man.
Young man.
Young man. That's where we meet Yuki Soma, who pops out, and he is known to be the prince of the high school that she goes to. Every girl loves him, has a crush on him. He's just, you know, he's that guy that they all love. He's usually the main character, but not in this anime. He offers to walk her to school. He's nothing but pleasant to her, you know, a true gentleman. Of course, a few of his fangirls see them walking together. They don't like that. They try to bully her. It doesn't really work out for them because our girl has backup. She has her best friends. Where are they? Lisa. And we already uploaded a picture of all of them together, but I'm doing some separately.
No problem.
Anna. And they come to our girl's protection. Look at how fucking cute they are. Look at that. Don't you just want to watch this anime just looking at that?
I did like it. I actually watched past the 5 episodes.
Ooh, spoilers. So yeah, they protect her. But they also question like, hey, what are you doing with this dude? Like, what's going on here? What the fuck, bro? So she gives like a brief explanation of the day, kind of just, continue. She brushes it aside. But after school's done, Toru goes to work. She's like a cleaning lady, I guess, for like I'm assuming a business. I don't know. But she spends basically her whole noon cleaning. She comes home tired. She's walking to her tent through the forest, and Yuki and Shigure are walking as well, and they kind of see her in the distance, and they were already a little, confused because she was saying that she lived nearby that morning when she met them, but like a large portion of the land is just owned by their family, and they didn't allow anyone to like build any properties or anything. They didn't sell any properties, so where the fuck is she staying? So they follow her. She goes into her tent, and she's just like, oh, I'm tired, Mom, but I have to finish this paper, so I'm just gonna go take a bath in the river real quick. And she pops her head out of her tent. The two guys see her, and after a brief laughing fit from Shigure, they take her back to their home and basically have her explain like her circumstances as to why she's living there. And that's where we get the backstory of her mom passing away and the grandpa's house that I explained earlier. A sound can be heard of, what is it, like dogs howling?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Shigure is like, oh, there was a landslide. That's kind of like your first like hint as to like something's up, right? And she's just like, how do you know? He's like, oh, it happens a lot. Don't worry about it. But it turns out that the landslide actually happened right on her tent. So her tent is completely buried. She panics because you would think she's panicking because basically everything she owns in her life right now is there. But she didn't give a shit about any of the material things. It was the picture of her mother that she has that she freaked out about. And she like jumps on the dirt that's covering the tent and she starts to dig. But not only is she tired from a full day of school and work, but I think she's also running a fever at this time. So she basically like passes out. They bring her home, put her to bed or whatever. And Yuki is like, all right, I'll go get her stuff. Opens the door. No, he doesn't even open the door yet. Shigure is like, oh, you're gonna do it alone? He's like, I'm not alone. Opens the door and there's just like complete darkness and then like a bunch of glowing little eyes. And if you've never seen this before, you're like, what the fuck is happening right now? Even watching it, I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? Because he's like posing and he like slides away into complete darkness. It was fucking weird. But yeah, she wakes up in the morning and immediately is like, oh no, my stuff. But when she leaves the room that she's in, Yuki's right there and he has like her stuff in a bag. And it's like, oh, I got your stuff for you. No need to worry. It's like, oh, you did it alone? He's like, no, I couldn't do that. And then just kind of like side sweeps it again. But basically, to summarize, she's offered a room in the house. Said, you just clean up around here. You don't have to worry about paying us anything. It's all good. So as she's checking out this room, we're introduced to yet another person who comes crashing down. And it is this beautiful, beautiful bastard right here. Best character in the show. Yo. He is 100% the best character in the show, and nobody should say otherwise. Yo pops in. He, like, busts down through the ceiling, immediately picks a fight with Yuki. They start fucking like about to throw hands and shit. Toru's freaked out about it. She runs to like, no, don't do this, and like grabs him in a hug. Boom, big puff of smoke. And now an orange cat is in the place of Kyo. She's freaked out about this because now there's just men's clothes on the floor and an orange cat in her hands. Understandably, she's freaked out. She's so shocked, actually, that she falls over onto Shigure and Yuki, who also proceed to disappear in a puff of smoke and turn into a dog and a rat, respectively. And that's where the first episode ends. Look at his hands. I'm a monster. Well, all that right now, I was reading off of a script. I made myself a script for the first episode. And then I was going to do a script for everything, but I got bored. So let's go. It's rambling time. I have Foggy Brain.
No, but they're pretty cute, though.
Yeah, they're pretty cute. Episode 2 picks up directly where episode 1 ends. She's freaking out about them being animals and doesn't really know what to do. Mailman comes in. She's like, "Oh my god, look, they're animals." And he's like, yeah.
Yes, they are.
They're very cute.
Very
Bye."
cute.
He's like, I need you to sign for this, and
The dog did, right?
Yeah, Shigure signs for it in his dog food. And it's like, oh, he's very well trained. Yeah, while they're in their animal forms, they can still talk. So Shigure basically explains that the Soma family is cursed, where members of the family are each represented or representing an animal of the Chinese zodiac. So he's the dog, Yuki's the rat, Kyo's the cat, so on and so forth. There's 13 different people that have it. I mean, I'm guessing that there's 13. I don't think there's doubles.
I don't think so.
I don't think it's ever mentioned.
I think there should be one of every single member of the zodiac, is what I understood.
That's what I'd imagine, but they also talk about like how extensive their family is. So I'm like, is it just like the main family only, or I'm sure it's like probably said in the manga or like later in the anime. I don't know. But yeah, he explains that they have this curse, whatever. Basically, if they keep saying touched by someone of the other sex, but it seems more like it's just hugged, because she touches them all the time and nothing happens.
yeah, it's strictly hugs.
Yeah. So if they're hugged by a member of the other sex, they transform into their animal forms, and they don't get any superpowers or anything. They can just talk to whatever animal it is that they transformed into. I think she's understandably a little freaked out, but she takes it pretty well. And just like, all right, well, I'm late for school. Bye. I don't know if that's the best way to handle that. But, applaud to her. I would have been fucking freaking out. She goes to school. Yuki follows. Has a normal day. And he's just like, hey, so, you, talking shit? I was like, what? Like, you telling our secret? No. It's like, I promise, I'll do a blood oath, I'll fire, whatever. I don't know what she meant by fire. Like, is she gonna brand herself?
You got me at that one. And
but,
like one of us I think you made the joke, and it was like, pulled out the 9.
It's like, I'll take your secret to my death, to my grave.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Cock's gun.
I'll make sure of that. Cock's gun.
I think of it like the Ring of Fire and like Finding Nemo.
But yeah, she's like, you don't have to worry about me spilling your secret or anything. It's also revealed that in the past, the secret has been spilled before, and they have like this way of erasing memories that's like hypnotism, and they really don't want to have her hypnotized. But the decision's not up to them. It's up to the head of the family, Akito, which I'll throw a picture of Akito up. Even though we don't really see them in the first 5, but I'll do it anyway. I don't even know if it's during this episode that they explain that like Yuki was playing around one time with other
No,
kids.
it was like episode 4, I think.
Well, this happens at one point. I'll just say it now. But Yuki was playing around some kids in the backyard. I think they were playing tag or something, and he ended up transforming. And everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's a fucking rat!" And they stomped on him with their Tims. No, but apparently he spoke to Akito about it. He's like, "Am I really that weird?" And Akito like put it in his head that he's like, "No, you're fucking weird. You're cursed. No one will ever love you." And it kind of fucked him up. Not gonna lie.
I mean, that would have fucked me up too.
Being told that like no one will ever accept you. Yeah, I'd imagine that would fuck anyone up.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, guys. That is really fuzzy right now. So I'm having a hard time remembering what happened in what episodes.
That's fine.
It's pretty hot in my room right now.
I get that.
Yeah. But let's see. She promises, not to spill the beans. They say they still gotta talk to Akito about it. But Shigure is handling that. So she comes back home with him later. That sounds wrong. But she lives there now. Whatever. Her roof has been fixed by a certain cat boy, which is great. He's handy. And Shigure comes back and is like, "Hey, we got the okay. She doesn't need her memories erased. All good. It seems like it's only necessary if it's like a big group of people," which I guess is understandable.
Yeah.
I'm kind of an advocate of not erasing people's memories, but whatever. My body, my choice. Probably should have said that. Not to get political, but what the fuck is Florida? Does anything else like explicitly happen in episode 2 aside from just like Yuki and Kyo arguing and all that?
Not that I know of. No.
Yeah, I think one and 2 is just a big introduction, basically.
Yeah.
Uh,
They're practically like that every episode.
I know she cleans the kitchen.
Yeah, she cleans out like the rest of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's now livable.
In the 2001 anime, you get to actually see like how disgusting it is. Literally from floor to ceiling, there's just piles of garbage in the kitchen.
What the fuck?
Yeah. they don't show you in this anime. It's fucking horrible. She literally has a moment in that one where she's like, "I don't even know where to start, so I'm just gonna start here." Just starts picking up bags of garbage and tossing them out.
My god.
I think in that episode, I think Kyo starts to like try to open up to her a little bit because he's just kind of straight out rude to her in the beginning.
Yeah.
Even though he's not trying to be.
Yeah. Number 3, Kyo comes to school. Yeah, I know. I that one I definitely know. So yeah, episode 3. We get to see Shigure in a suit, which is a rare occurrence, but I am very accepting of it. Because my guy looks good in a suit, I'm not gonna lie. I wish I looked that good in a suit. But that's besides the point. I'm very tired.
You're almost done, big. You're almost done, big homie.
Yeah, so he comes in. They have this really funny moment where like Kyo comes in a rush and Shigure is following him, and they just do a lap around the table that Toru and Yuki are eating at. And it's just like, "No, you can't do this. You're just taking sick pleasure in it." And Shigure is like, "Well, yes, I am taking pleasure of it, but that's not the point." And they just like kind of argue. Kyo runs off, and Shigure's like, "Hey, can you at least take off your shoes? Don't wear them inside." And Yuki's just like, "Yeah," says the guy who just did laps around the dinner table while wearing his. And no one acknowledged that, and I was like, "That's fucking gold." But he sits at the dinner table, he starts eating, and he's like, "Oh yeah, he's Kyo's just a little mad because I made him take an entrance exam. He's gonna be the newest student at your school. Thanks for the food." And Yuki's just like, "Get the fuck out! Don't touch the food. Leave." Like, oh, okay. That's when he says, like, Kyo was supposed to be going to school, like an all-boys school, and he hasn't gone in like 4 months because he's been training in the mountains. And I was like, pause. My sister misses 1 day of school. We get a call. How the fuck did he miss 4 months? How's that a thing?
He missed a third of like the fucking school year.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Yeah, I thought that was crazy. But maybe it's because like they're in the countryside. But
I don't know, man. You see the way Japan
I don't
is
know
with
about
school.
that, bro. As for he wasn't in school for fucking 3 to 4 months. Like, huh?
He just dipped, bro.
Didn't say anything.
I wish. Yeah, he's like, hey, he's gonna be in your school now. So they kind of just like jump to the next day, where he's just absolutely mobbed by girls.
He's super
Like,
uncomfortable.
Yeah, he's super uncomfortable. I mean, of course, because if he gets hugged by one of them, secret's out. He's a cat boy. Nobody wants to be a cat boy. Stares into camera.
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean? What do you mean by that? What do you mean, you people? What do you mean, you people? So he's getting irritated, like people just asking him questions, all the women getting too close to him. And it's a combination of like, oh my god, he's cute. Oh my god, it's the new guy, and like, oh, we heard he was Yuki's cousin. So like the cousin of the prince of the school. Oh my god, I need to get to know him, So he's getting upset. Yuki's like, yeah, technically he's my cousin, but I've never actually spoken to him. One girl like tries to go in for a hug, I think, and it's a lot better in this anime compared to the 2001 version. He like flips her over and just like presses her down. In the 2001 version, he does it as well, but it looks a lot more painful. And she even says like, he almost ripped my arm off. He does that to her, has her in that hold, basically screams to leave him alone, and jumps out of the window, which is like 4 stories up.
Yeah, lands on all fours.
Like a cat. Runs away. I think Yuki and Toru both go to check on him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's basically just like, I don't want to be here. Toru tries to be helpful. And the thing about Kyo is that it's very hard for him to not be brash. He will just like say mean things even without meaning it. Just the type of person he is, because he's so used to being attacked. Yeah. He's so used to being attacked that he's like always on the offensive. So he kind of just like tells her off, like, leave me alone, stop, you're being a burden to us, blah blah blah. Sees the hurt on her face, is immediately like, oh fuck. He gets turned into a cat again, because that's gonna happen a million times in the show. And she leaves. He's there feeling guilty. He tells Yuki, like, aren't you gonna kick me? And Yuki just walks away. It's like, sometimes it hurts more not to be kicked. And I think, Jay, you were like, why does that feel so like
That felt personal.
It's like, why did I feel that in my soul?
That felt real personal. Cause it's just the way that it happened. Because some people are just used to it, and sometimes things change after the expected response doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just like, because that's usually what like his like natural response is. to Kyo when he does something stupid.
Yeah, he
Just hits him.
fucks him up all the time, bro.
So when it didn't happen, I guess something clicked in his brain and it was just like, yikes.
Like, I really messed up.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. You're like, oh. Let's see what else happens. He feels guilty about it pretty much all day. But doesn't really. I mean, not only is he not the type to apologize, especially at this point in the story. But Toru also had work, so he couldn't see her right away. So they actually say like, "Oh, Toru's coming home late from work. Hey Yuki, you should go walk her home because there's some creeps around at this time." Immediately cuts to her walking through the forest alone. You see a shadow walking up behind her. She turns and swings with her bag and just decks Kyo immediately with it. He just eats it, doesn't even flinch, slowly turns around. She's like, "Oh my god, no, I didn't mean to do that. I was just practice swinging. Ha 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 ha."
I thought you were a pervert.
Yeah. No, not even, she doesn't even say that yet. She's like, "I was just practice swinging." She's like, "Yeah, you hit me. Whatever, let's keep it going." And that's when she's like, "I thought you were a pervert." And he's like, "Me? What the fuck? Like, how am I a pervert?" He explains, he's sorry and all that. And she's like, "Kyo, what? Oh, I was just saying your name." It's like, "Well, don't fucking do that. It sounds like you're calling me. I'm thinking you're wanting something." Because of course he's so rough around the edges. He has to yell at her for everything. He can't express his true feelings.
Words are hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure they are.
Yeah.
So
are feelings.
Alright, you got me there, buddy.
Yeah.
Didn't have to make it real. But yeah, they just kind of have this nice moment where they talk and they get to know each other a little bit. I don't think within these first 5 we get to see like a super big bonding moment where she gets to spend a lot of time with him, like she does with Yuki. But it is nice to see the little bonding moments, to see him get more comfortable around her and more accepting of her.
Yeah.
Next episode is the Kagura episode. Jay, I think you really like this episode.
I was so confused for the most part.
Episode is about this young woman right here, Kagura Soma. Now she comes in and she's just like knocking on the door and she's like, hello. Just like literally like the 2 fingers poking each other, like, emoji. Yeah. Just like, I heard Kyo was back. Can I see him? Like, yeah, he's over there. It's like,
and it was like, okay.
Yeah. It's like, oh my god, yeah, he's here. Oh my god. Runs up. It's like, oh my god, 4 months. Oh, I missed you so much. How the fuck could you leave me for 4 months? Just like beats the shit out of him.
Just commences to beating his ass.
Bro, she starts styling on him like Devil May Cry style.
Yeah, it's like 3 minutes. It's like 2 minutes of like her being in frame and him in the background just getting absolutely beat the fuck up.
I swear I saw her switch from Gunslinger to Royal Guard at least 3 times. Yeah, they're having a whole like explanation like, oh yeah, this is our cousin Kagura. She's loved him like our whole life, blah blah blah. While she's just in the background like beating the shit out of him. And then she finally, like, the explanation's done as to like who she is, and she's done beating on him, and he's on the floor like a bloody mess. And she's like, "Oh no, Kyo, honey, what happened? Who did this to you?" Like, ma'am.
That's where I got really concerned and confused. That right there, I was like, uh-oh.
He's like the yandere character. Like, ma'am, you need some help. But like outside of that, she's like super adorable.
Yeah.
She's like soft-spoken, she's cute, she knows how to cook. She's just a nuisance basically when it comes to Kyo. She's in love with him. And the way Kyo explains it was that she, as a child, she threatened him with 2 kitchen knives, one in each hand, to marry her. That sounds like fun. So she's like begging for his love the whole episode, just beating his ass anytime he says no, basically. She goes into the shower at one point.
While he's in there.
While he's in there, and I was like, first off, I was like, why are they showing me this? Why do I feel a certain way about this? What the fuck? What are we doing right now?
She's like, let me scrub your back. It's like, no, what the fuck? Get away from me.
Get away. I like that his tail popped out.
Yeah.
As he was running away. I was like, where? What? He runs away.
Spooked.
Yeah. He runs away. She's like, oh, I know. I'll cook him a delicious meal. So she fucking clears the fridge out, bro. Like, there's nothing left in the fridge at all. It's empty. It's brand new.
I was like, what the fuck?
She makes this huge meal, and they're like, how many people you think are eating? Like, oh, no worries. I just want to make sure that, you know, my husband's going to be full. So she goes upstairs. Everyone else is, like, seated at the table. She goes upstairs to get Kyo. And he's like, I don't want any food. She's like, oh, but I made it for you. I made sure to make enough so that you're not still hungry when you leave. He's like, I don't want it. So she flips out again. Fucking, like, judo throws him through the floor. Like, literally through the floor. Onto the table downstairs. And now nobody can eat anything because the food is ruined. He's fucking...
the table's broken.
Yeah,
again
he's
for, like,
dead.
The third time.
He's a paraplegic now. And she's like, oh, no worries, I'll make more food. And Shigure is like, how? You used everything. Like, oh, I'll just go to the store. And she's like, kind of feeling guilty, I guess, or like upset. So she leaves. I guess... yeah, Toru was gonna go speak to her. And Shigure was like, I got this one. But he didn't really do anything.
No, not really.
It's like, what the fuck is the point of this? He's like, I got this one. He goes up. He's like, so you gonna go to the store? She's like, I want to live here. Like, I don't know about that one, buddy. And then she leaves. Like, oh, that was a good pep talk, Sugar. Like, glad you were here to help, bud. She goes to the store. She gets like some food stuff. Cashier's like, hey, that's 3,300 yen. She's like, all right, no problem. My family's rich. I forgot my wallet. Fucking whoops. And here comes Toru with a fucking lot of cash out of nowhere. And it cuts to them like walking back. And Kagura's walking ahead of her a little bit. And Toru's like trying to make conversation with her. We get some backstory. We get Kagura's version of the story in which her and Kyo met. And it was Kyo, for whatever reason, was drawing a fried egg in the dirt. Yeah. And she just like came up and was like, oh, why are you alone? Here, I'll hang out with you. He's like, are you serious? And she's like, yeah, and I'll never leave your side. I'm like, oh, we're gonna be best friends forever. And that's when she fell in love with him, I guess.
Yeah.
So her and Toru are like talking. She's like kind of defensive. She doesn't really like Toru that much because she's jealous of her being around Kyo. But as they talk, she feels closer to her. And it goes from Toru walking, a couple paces behind her to Toru now holding one handle of the plastic bag for the groceries. And they come home and they start cooking a meal together. They make hamburg steak. Everyone's happy. Kyo gets a fried egg on his because, that represents the childhood, trauma that he went through. He's blushing a little bit. It's all good. He's still best boy. I trust him.
Yeah, only he gets the fried egg, nobody else.
Yeah, because it's supposed to represent them, like him drawing the fried egg.
Yeah.
It's kind of late, so they're like, oh, you can stay here for the night, whatever. So, the next day, it's time for her to leave. Toru has still not figured out what animal she is.
It took me the longest time to figure it out.
It took her the longest time, too.
Yeah.
Kyo says something again. She, beats his ass, starts running. Bursts through the door. Boom, the mailman's there. She runs into his arms. Opposite sex. He transforms. Yuki comes with the fucking most yaoi boy love moment ever. Like, hey, how are you doing today, Mr. Mailman? Have a nice day. And like pushes him away.
Yeah,
like, what
he
the
just
fuck?
slides into the background.
Yeah, and then we see that, she's the boar, and I just love this moment of Toru picking her up, and it's like, I finally figured it out. She's the boar. It makes so much sense. I'm like, you didn't figure shit out. Like she didn't transform.
It's right in front of you.
But she sounds so cocky when she says it. She's like, yeah, it makes so much sense. When you're into something, you only focus on that one thing until you get it. And they're just like, all right, you got it. Toru gives Kagura, while she's holding her in her little piggy form, a speech basically saying like, hey, I understand now why you like him, why you like Kyo so much, and basically like starts listing off good things about him. And it's a very sweet moment, and then Kagura freaks out, starts beating the shit out of Kyo in her pig form, calling him a cheater because now she thinks Toru is in love with him. And Toru's like, no, let me rephrase. I really respect you. I want to be like you, and I want to be able to see like the good in people. And she's like, oh, you want to be like me? That's so sweet. Transforms back into a girl. She's on Kyo naked. Kyo's blushing about it. Shigure's like, you need more practice. And I didn't catch that at first, and I was like, oh. Yeah, she goes home, and that's kind of the end of that episode. And that was what, episode 4?
Yep. And then
Episode 5. Episode 5 is a really good episode.
I'd have to agree with you.
Yes. Our girl here, Toru, he gets a phone call at the end of episode 4, actually. And all we see from this phone call is she picks it up. She's like, oh, hi, this is Toru Honda. Grandpa. And then she like drops everything she was holding. So I'd imagine first time viewers being like, oh no, her grandpa died. Now she's truly alone. But what we actually learn is that the renovations are actually done on the new house, and it's time for her to move back in with her grandfather. So she has to leave the Somas. It's very, very melancholy feeling of she's telling them like, hey, your garbage day changed here. She's like giving them an orientation on how to run their own house. Just kind of funny, but in the moment you're too sad to laugh. And she literally just dips. She's like, hey, this is where I'm at. Bye. Packs her stuff and goes. And we get to finally meet her grandfather in person. So here's her grandpa. The most based grandfather.
Yeah, grandpa's base.
Yeah. And living with her and the grandfather will be her aunt. Her female cousin. And her male cousin. I don't think any of them are named. They're just her aunt and cousins. And grandfather. Yeah. So her grandfather has a habit of calling her Kyoko. And it's like kind of put on as it being like, he's getting up there in age and he's confused. But personally, I was taking it more like she's more like her mother than she realizes. And he's kind of like trying to get that point across. Like at one point he's like, Kyoko always needed to be free. Like kind of hinting at what he thought she should do. But she moves back in with them. She's like unpacking her stuff. Her female cousin's like, oh my god, I can't believe this house is bigger and I gotta fucking share a room with you. This is disgusting. I hate this.
Yeah, I hate it.
Just like straight off being a bitch. It's like, anyway, my mom wants to talk to you. So she comes out into like the dining area, and the mom is there with the son and the grandpa. Cousin sits on the couch. And they're just basically like, hey, you were living alone in like a bachelor's house. The fuck is going on with that? I had a detective follow you, And Toro's like, what do you mean you had a detective? What the fuck? Like, as nicely as she possibly can, because she's an angel. But still, like, what the fuck? And the mom is like, or the aunt is like, yeah, my son wants to be a cop. So we can't have, like, a criminal in the family. And we know your mother was like, So already you know this woman's a bitch. Bringing up her dead mom like that. And then this guy comes out and is like, oh yeah, a girl living alone with men. Did they do anything to you? And that's when the grandpa comes out and just smacks the shit out of him.
Yeah, grandpa's based as fuck. Grandpa's based as fuck.
And he straight up is like, oh, Kyoko, because he doesn't call her Toro, he calls her Kyoko. Like, I'm sorry that my family is trash.
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
You don't have to deal with them. I know that they're nasty people, but they're my family, so I have to deal with them. You don't. You're free to go. And at first she takes it as like, oh, you're kicking me out. And he's like, no. I want you to know that I care for you, I cherish you, but just like your mother, you need to be free and you need to choose what you want. It's okay to be selfish sometimes, and we keep hearing that because that's something her mother told her before she passed. And she starts saying, like, you know, she was so happy living with the Somas. Oh, excuse me, I burped. She was so happy living with the Somas. You know, it's the first time she felt like she's been home in a long time. And that's what she's calling it now. She's calling it home. So she starts, like, bawling, like, tears streaming down her face. It's like, I want to go home. And then Yuki just pops up out of nowhere. It's like, all right, well, let's go. And you're like, where the fuck did this guy come from? And that's when we get the backstory from the boy's point of view. Where she leaves. They, like, walk around anxiously for a while. Then they take the note that she left with the address and, like, stormed out. Yuki left first. Like, silently. Kyo is just, like, walking around. He starts trying to look for the note. Shigure is like, Yuki already took it. He's like, oh, fuck. Catches up to him. And they come in, and we get to see from their point of view, they actually sneak around, like, the back of the house and look through, like, the sliding doors that have, like, curtains on them. And they get to see that whole thing going down. And actually, if you rewatch the episode, you can see, like, the cousin sitting on the couch. Behind her, you see their shadows peering through the window. It's a cool little detail. But they're there, and they get to see everything. So around the time that the grandfather slaps the cousin, Kyo's like, all right, we gotta go. And Yuki's already gone. He's like, where the fuck? So that's how they got into the house. Like, the door was left open. They saw everything. They saw that she wanted to come with them. And they're like, all right, let's go. So he's like, Kyo, take her to her room, pack her shit up. We're leaving. So they go to the room, start packing. He, like, licks the cousin on the forehead with enough force to knock him back. So these boys are kind of strong. And it's just like, don't you ever fucking talk about her like that again. And I was like, ooh, what if their family's kind of like the fucking mafia or something? Like, think about it. Like, the Somas could 100% be a crime family. We wouldn't know just based on this anime. Where did they get all their money from?
Why was the cousin, like, that was a guy? It's like,
I don't know. It was like,
oh yeah,
I guess he must have.
He's
thought
like,
it was
oh my
just a
god,
rumor.
he's hot.
I guess he thought it was just a rumor that she was staying with guys, and then guys came to pick her up, and he's just like, it really was a guy.
He's hot.
Yeah,
gaslighting. Wait.
I don't know what it was, or maybe because Yuki has, like, such feminine looks. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't understand why he says that.
I got nothing, but that's what caught me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, but we're gonna keep it pushing. They also had a hard time kind of finding the house in the first place.
Yeah, because fucking Japanese blocks make no sense. But not only that, they're looking for a house that's, like, newly renovated, but they forgot the part where Toro was like, everything's been renovated except the outside.
Yeah.
But yeah, she goes back home with them in tears. and it's fucking adorable, and that scene gets me every time. And that's all 5 episodes, baby.
We love, baby.
Yeah. I left out a couple details because it's like some things that I want to talk about while we're discussing.
Okay.
So yeah, what you guys think about this show? Any like specific moments that you liked or didn't like or just want to talk about?
I guess I'll go first. Since I don't know if you guys watched it together or not. In general, I remember watching. I don't even remember how far I got to like the original one because I did watch the original one, but I guess I forgot like a lot of it because like I didn't remember any of it. So rewatching, and I was like, oh, okay. Like I mean, I totally forgot there were like Zodiac characters and everything. So I'm like, oh, okay. I just know like it was just based on, yeah, you have the main heroine, and of course you have like these two hot guys or other, and pretty much they'll get into her, and then she's probably gonna have to decide, and that's all I basically knew of the anime.
Yeah.
But as I watched it, I don't know, like I did like a lot of the story that was going on. And I actually like because I went back and saw like the animation compared to his like it's very revamped. It's like I'm like holy shit. I'm like I didn't even like I'm sure the story's better on the original, but the animation like what they did on the and this one was just like it blew my mind because I was like night and day. Like they put like in a lot of effort because like they already have the story, so they can just focus on like what they need to convey for that story.
So the story was actually the same in both, like exactly the same. The episodes matched up. There was maybe a couple details here and there that are different, and maybe it comes across better in the newer one because of better voice acting and animation. But yeah, the storyline itself, at least for the first 5 episodes, is exactly the same between both.
That was also another thing I noticed. There was I forget. Oh, the character, because I watched it in English. The voice actor for Kyo, I recognized that. I really like the voice actor because I haven't really heard his dub voice like in any shows I've seen in a while. Because I particularly known him when he was one of the first voice actors I heard when I was starting to get into anime. He was he played the dub for Case Closed for Detective Conan.
Yeah.
And I would always watch that on Cartoon Network on Adult Swim because I really liked that show at night when I was first watching it because it was like all so nitty gritty and then like a detective show, so it was pretty cool. So when I heard his voice, I was like, holy shit! I was like, I know that voice actor. I was like, so like that's kind of like got me into like watching it. But like I know in the beginning it was a little rough to get into. I was like, oh man. And then like I remember I mentioned I thought this was the first shoujo, and then I remember oh wait, Oran Host Club technically was the shoujo too, and I was like oh okay, and I was like but this one definitely has a lot more like um it has more romance compared to like Oran Host Club, so I was just like oh so it was like it was up to in the beginning I was a little cringe at least for me a little bit, and like at least like I just need to also like check out the sub version. I think it would have been a little bit better because I found like the dub a little rough at first, but like I got used to it, and like then when they were like talking about parts about like her mother and like their backstories, and you get to know like a little bit more about Kyo and the other one I forget his name. Yuki, yes. I'm like, oh man, like you kind of like start connecting with these characters, and I don't know if it was explained in these like 5 episodes, but like pretty much like they always like have like this animosity towards each other, but I know Honda notices that they actually kind of are jealous of each other.
Yeah.
Like they all have they each have something the other ones like lack, so that's kind of why they kind of like don't get along because of that.
Kyo wants to be accepted by the Soma family, and hates the rat because of what he did to the cat. Yuki wants to be out of the Soma family and feels cursed, so he hates the freedom of the cat. That's why they're jealous of each other.
Yeah, and then they don't see that, but Honda being
yeah, of course,
the outsider, she's able to see that.
Honda being the main character, the heroine,
the heroine, yes.
The voice actor you mentioned before, it's Jerry Jewell, and I did want to say, at least for the main cast of Toru, Yuki, Kyo, and Shigure, all returning from the original anime, all the same voice actors.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
nice.
cool.
Yeah, I was when I first saw the remake, because I saw it when it first came out, so it was sub only. I was like, man, I really hope that they end up dubbing this, and I hope, just out of anyone, Kyo has the same voice actor. I don't give a shit about anyone else. I really hope Kyo keeps the same voice actor. I even went back, watching this week's anime. I watched the original anime 1 through 5, and then I watched the 2019 version 1 through 5 twice. In the original, Kyo is like the only, out of the main cast, he is the only half decent voice. It's so hard to listen to the original now. Maybe back then it was fine because like anime was still not in the mainstream and like it wasn't that big of a thing.
So it was like slowly budding.
Yeah, we took what we could get back then. And now I'm watching it, I'm like, ooh, buddy. The animation too, I think at one point Toru like put her hand up and it was like a paw. Because they just didn't bother drawing like all 5 fingers. It's just like, what the fuck? What else, James?
I mean, I pretty much covered it for me. I think I'll definitely keep watching it. I know even Jess really got hooked up into it, so I might just end up binge watching it with her. I don't know how many more episodes there are compared to I don't know how because I think I was looking at it, there's like 56 episodes on the old one, so like I don't really know how far the new one is, or if it's still ongoing, or if it's gonna go to that 56, or
I think the new one has already passed that and is still going, and it has a prequel movie that just came out.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And didn't they also announce that there's another new season coming out or something? Or
season 3?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it seems to be doing very well. So there's actually a sequel manga called Fruits Basket Another, and I'm hoping that might get animated too. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I really love this series.
Yeah, I think it was also like a long time coming because like it does have a huge following because it is one of those like original animes, but it just never really got like retouched upon. So I think they're just like revamping it and putting a lot of time and effort instead of like making something new. They're concentrating on kind of perfecting what they already did.
And I have news here from a very good source. The main story is finished, 3 full seasons with 64 episodes. Nice. So what's your rating?
If I had to rate it, I'd rate it an 8 based on the 5.
Ooh.
A pretty high. I still want to know like what's like how things will get. How would I say this? Well, I guess a little bit more complicated. I'm pretty sure like when she starts like liking one or the other.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure like it gets even more chaotic when other members of other members of the Zodiac come, and it makes it even more complicated. So like I'll say, and I know just because I was born like the year of the monkey, I was like, I wonder who's the monkey, because I was like because I know it's like, all right, they have the cat, and then they have the rat, the dog, and they showed the boar. So I'm like, okay, so like there's like I wonder if they're gonna show the rest of the Zodiac, and like imagine if like
like I don't know if like a bad guy or like the head family's gonna be like the dragon or like I don't know, but I'm looking forward to
I
seeing
can
it.
tell you this much: the monkey is pretty interesting.
Oh, cool.
All right, Jay. Anything
Yes,
you
sir.
want to pick out about, like, you were interested in? Anything you want to learn more of or give you rating?
Well, so first and foremost, I watched this all today. I watched 5 episodes, and uh, this definitely got me like hooked, both physically and emotionally, especially with a little relatable to main character, you know, with like how kind of tragedy strikes and things change, and just kind of is just the way that she feels. It's a similar feeling, and it's easy to relate to if you've definitely gone through like something like that.
Mm.
So I I've really enjoyed this anime. Even through the first 5, I do plan on watching more. Absolutely. But I just think like the thing that kind of stuck out to me the most is the when she went over the day that her mom had gotten into an accident
Mhm.
and passed away. Of the like I think she had stayed up like the night prior, I believe, to study for a quiz she had that day, and I don't think she woke up on time.
Mhm.
And I think the one thing that she definitely regretted was not saying see you later to her mom like that morning. And that kind of stuck for
Uh,
separate reasons.
Yeah.
Nah, yeah, I too have a very similar situation that pretty much happened to me, and yeah, it did also fuck me up too. But it's just kind of like you kind of gotta accept that,
Yeah.
that kind of shit happens, and it's you gotta kind of think about this that they always meant well, or not meant well, but like they know how much you loved or cared about them. So like even if like you didn't say goodbye, it's not like it's goodbye.
Yeah. Anything
But yeah,
else, Jay?
it was very touchy feel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I will give Fruits Basket nice 8 out of 10.
All right. Pretty good scores. Um, so yeah, I was gonna bring up those parts too. You guys handled them pretty well. So I wanted to bring up um the namesake of the show, Fruits Basket. Fruits Basket is a game that is played in Japan where it's kind of like, it reminds me of Duck Duck Goose, where the kids are like sitting in a circle, and instead of someone being on the outside going duck duck goose, it's someone in the middle, and they'll assign every kid a fruit, and the ring is the basket. So it'll be like, oh, you're an apple, you're an orange, you're a banana. Apple, I choose you, and you get to run around or whatever. So Toru used to get picked on by the boys in class, and they'd go around like, oh, let's play Fruits Basket. Everyone sit in the circle, and they'd say, you're an apple, you're a banana, you're a grape, you're an orange, and they'd get to Toru, say, you're a rice bowl, because rice bowl is not a fruit. So they'd pick out all the fruits. Everyone would have fun running around, and she didn't play. But Toru, being, the way she is, she's a little foolish.
Being Toru.
Yeah, she always just sat there happily waiting her turn. It's a very great description of her. Like, she's always looking on the bright side, like, oh, for sure, they're gonna pick me at one point.
Yeah.
So she was the rice bowl. There is the time that she's making the rice bowls and having a conversation with Kyo and talking about like the different fillings and everything. And she says the way she looks at people is like as if they're rice bowls, and everyone has a plum on their back. Being that it's on your back, you can't see it. and I'm paraphrasing here. It's like, so people can't see what's so special about them. They think that they're just a plain rice bowl, but everyone else can see what's great about them. Everyone else can see the plum on their back. That's like her and Kyo are like complimenting each other. Like, you have a plum on your back. You might not see what's special about you, but I can see it. That scene always fucking gets me. Every fucking time. I'm like, oh no, please.
Yeah, that got me.
Just the way that she's always there, like trying to be a beacon for her friends, even though she has like so much going on with herself. Like, she was literally homeless at the start of the show. Like, literally living in a tent, no running water, no bathroom, no like place to make food, working right after school all the way up until like the end of night, and then still doing her homework, and still just being super cheerful and trying to do her best for everyone else. She's just like such a good character. She has almost no flaws, except she's just like too nice.
Yeah.
And kind of dumb. And what kind of hits me is that I was recently told that I'm kind of remind someone of her in a way, because like no matter what I'm going through, I'm usually the one that people come to talk about stuff like that that's bothering them, and like, I've always been the reliable friend and not the one that goes to other people, and that always, like, oh god.
Yeah.
Just hearing that, I was like, oh man, like somebody pointing out the things that you do, and like not a lot of people do that, and you think things are going unseen and unappreciated, kind of hit. And I was like, you know, me liking this show so much and valuing these characters, getting compared to one of them was an honor in and of itself, but it being such a deep thing, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna cry. But yeah, I love the show. I've always loved the show since I saw it way back as a little lad. Not back when it first came out, because I don't even think I knew what the internet was back then. It came out in 2001. But I did see it in like probably the late 2000s, probably like 2008, 2009. Loved it back then. Loved the manga. And I really, really love the new version. And I would give it a 10. I love this 100%. I did want to ask you guys though. You guys see where this is going. She's gonna end up with someone, right?
That's kind of what it kind of looks like, but you never know, because she kind of seems like she doesn't really. She's not really thinking of that kind of thing right now. She's just,
right now, but you know, as time goes on, I'll
yeah.
No, spoiler. She does end up with someone.
Yeah.
I just wanted a vote from you guys. Do you think she will end up with Yuki, with Kyo, or with some third party we don't know yet?
I would hope it'd be Kyo.
Yeah, just because that was pretty much like the one she always talked about positively in the. That's like, didn't she say that she wanted to be like the cat that she renounced being the born the year of the dog? She wanted to be the born year of the cat.
Yeah, but that's more of like she looks up to him type of thing.
That's true.
I'm not gonna spoil anything by saying if it's one of the two or if it's a third person that comes along later. But I was just interested in where you guys thought it was going. Now, there's an announcement to make. Should I wait until after we say next week, or before?
You could say it.
Say the announcement now. All right.
Yeah.
So, some news. You guys know how I start off every episode. I'm like, oh, I'm joined here as always with Jay and James. How you doing, guys? There's gonna be a change to that coming soon, because it will not be as always. Sadly, James will be leaving the podcast after next week's episode. It will be back down to 2. Hopefully we can bring in someone else, whether it be permanent or maybe rotating, have guests on. But James will no longer be a permanent member of the cast. He's free to come on whenever he wants. I will not be removing him from the server like I've done with hosts in the past, but no longer a mainstay. Just, you know, for personal reasons. No beef happening behind the scenes, because, you know, the internet loves that.
No, yeah.
Just personal reasons. You know, he didn't like fuck my girlfriend or anything that I know of.
Bro, you live on the other side of this country. We haven't even met in person yet.
But yeah. So there's still a chance that he might pop in every once in a while. Who knows?
I'll just pop at your door.
But yeah, we just wanted to let that be known. From here on, it'll go back to being most likely just a 2-person show until someone else can be found and brought in. So next week will be Jay's episode, and then it'll revert back to me after that.
Yeah, so look forward to next week.
Yeah, it's the big blowout episode for James, where absolutely nothing will change because we're not gonna like have a big event or anything.
Exactly. So what is my goodbye episode going to be?
Yeah.
Okay, so I decided to keep it pretty simple and something that I faintly remember. So I'm just gonna keep it 100, and we're gonna be watching Data Live.
Oh,
Nice.
I know that show. Yeah, I forgot to put the memes in. Here you go.
Oh, there's a meme?
Yeah, I got memes, bro.
It's always that memes.
Yeah, not always.
Usually. You have some kind of meme.
Yeah.
This is a very accurate one right here. Be careful.
Yeah,
who you
I
call
took a
Gabriel.
peek. I took a peek at yeah.
I saw the characters. I was like, God, they look terrible. But the cats, I mean, when they're in the animal forums, that's when they're like, you know, that's pretty spot on.
Yeah, they look fine.
They look fine. But I think out of all of them, like Yuki, just looks like, oh my God.
That cat wins you, absolutely. Lizer.
Yeah.
I don't remember, because I'm just a little spoilers about the bunny Zodiac, the blonde one.
Yeah.
Like,
the fucking what now?
Is he like German?
Yeah,
is he like German?
So,
but like in the sub version, like I was like, well, like how does he sound like German, like Japanese, like is it like? Because I couldn't, I was gonna ask you guys.
I was actually like a little bit of spoilers here for you guys, but I was watching with my girlfriend, and we got to the episode where they first reveal Momiji, and I hear him talk, and it's just like young German boy. And to her, it was completely normal because this is the only one she's watched was the remake. But in the original, Momiji's the super cute, like he sounds almost like a little girl. Doesn't have much of an accent. He like goes around singing, and he's super adorable. And I'm just like, what did they do to my boy?
Yeah.
What did they do to him? And she's like, what's wrong? And it's like, I mean, it's not bad, but. It's like,
yeah,
where's my son?
Out of everything, that threw me off. I was like, wait. I was like, oh, is he German? The other one? I was like, I don't remember.
Yeah, so
I was like, he stood out so much.
He definitely has like German ancestry, but they don't give him like a thick German accent in the other one. He doesn't like start speaking German or anything. But for sure in this one. Yeah, that's it for the memes. Tune in next week for Date Alive.
Yeah.
Very, very good show. If I remember correctly.
That's what I'm praying for. I mean, I'm watching season 4, so it has to be like some redeeming quality somewhere.
If I remember correctly, you've also seen this, James, right?
Yes, I saw.
Yeah.
I think you saw it too. I remember you liked the one girl with the clock with the black hair and the red.
Yeah.
I remember that was your favorite. I don't know why. I don't remember. I remember like you loved
James,
her.
shut the fuck up.
Like she's on your bucket list.
Nobody here wants to get stepped on. Nobody here wants to get stepped on. Okay? See
I
you
repeat
guys
it a third
next
time.
week.
No
one
one
here
wants to get stepped
wants
on.
to get stepped on. Bye bye, guys. See you next
Bye-bye.
time.
Bye.